Speaks Talk Radio, where women's words are changing the world.
Hello, this is Wendy Dixon from Intuitive Life, and today I'd like to introduce Debbie McLeod, who is a Celebrant and Hedge Witch. I thought she said head witch, but she did say hedge, as she works very much with nature. So thank you for joining me today, Debbie. It's lovely to be able to chat to you. So let's start off telling us a bit about your spiritual journey and how it began and where it's taken you.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, Wendy. It's lovely to be here. So my journey began a long time ago, over probably 20 years ago. But to be honest, when I reflected on it, I'd had the Christ consciousness energy around me since I'd been a young girl. And I believed in the universe, but I didn't kind of realize that actually that was something to believe in, do you know?
Yes,
because
I understand.
Yeah, I was a curious child and I wanted to know why and understand, but things on a deeper level rather than just a surface level. What does that mean? Why? And really, really curious. And that kind of like when that consciousness came in, it almost came in and then stopped. And it was laid dormant for a number of years.
Yeah.
And then after my dad had died, I decided to go on a retreat. I was feeling really lost at that time. So it was probably about 13 years after he passed. And I felt really lost and alone and not sure of where I was going and what I should be doing. So I went on a retreat and I thought it was a pampering retreat.
Right.
It was called an inner child. And I thought, oh, lovely, that's just what I need.
Yeah.
However, it was a week of mediumship.
That's
and it was
a little bit different.
Just a bit. And I thought, oh my gosh. Anyway, I remember my grandma used to read the tarot, the tea leaves. And I was always fascinated by those. So
and
when
it's amazing how many people at that time did actually do that, and we weren't even aware of it.
I know, and I just kind of like didn't think it was a big thing, and even now, but the more that people that I've spoken to about that, I was like, gosh, it really was a big thing, you know, back then. And so I went on this retreat, and here's me thinking, you know, always pampering. Actually, it wasn't. It was very full-blown on mediumship course, and I absolutely loved it. And it was all aspects of mediumship. So it was the communication, it was healing, it was talking, it was giving readings, it was platform, it was everything in a week. And I came home buzzing.
Wow,
and thought,
yeah,
this is the way that I need to go. This is really lights me up, really fascinates that curious nature of myself. So I came back, and then I'd Googled, as you do, and found a local little a centre. And, you know, I'd lived in that town for years and never known that centre existed.
Right.
But when I come back, it was like, oh, first thing I saw. So I went in and I said, I want to know about this, this and this. And the lady went, Debbie, one thing at a time. And I was like, no, I want to learn it all. I was like so excited. And so that kind of set me off on that journey to understand that, you know, that there's more than me, that I wasn't alone. It was that feeling. And actually, once I'd delved deeper into that work, the connection was there and those feelings disappeared and dissipated. And it was wonderful. And then I found a local group leading on from that as well. And I loved it. I used to look forward to my every Friday nights round at the person's house, and we used to get together and we used to connect. And it was just wonderful. It was very high vibe and very positive and very, very, very learning, if you like, and satisfied that curiosity within me. And nothing was a silly question. And
was that all mediumship, Debbie?
It was. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. Yep. And we used to, what I loved about it as well was because it was so open and accepting, that if I'd read something in a book, like say something from Caroline Myss years ago, and she was an intuitive healer, I think, and she used to diagnose intuitively. And I remember going one night and thinking, I'll never go at that. And I said to my circle leader, Jan, and we became the best of friends. And I said, can I have a go at this? And she went, yeah, have a go.
Yeah.
And I literally did. And it was correct. What I'd found from that intuitiveness, it was correct. But what I loved about it was I felt safe. I felt safe and I felt secure. And Jan always believed in laughter.
Yeah.
And she used to say to me, Debbie, don't be so serious. And I'm like, but this is a serious subject. We're connecting with the universe and, beyond me. And she was like, no, spirit, love, laughter, Debbie.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, I'll try. No, you're going too serious. And I was mortified at the beginning because to me it was such a serious subject. But yeah, and then I realized, so that continued on for many, many years. And then it was Jan who encouraged me to set up my own circle. I didn't believe, but she was like, you ready, do it. And I loved it from the minute I did it. I loved it. And I used to love, because I'm a great fosterer and nurturer of people, and, open and accepting and non-judgmental. So it's really lovely to foster somebody's creativity, which is how I see it. And that innate gifts and talents that we all have within us, all of us, because I came to the conclusion that actually we're all mediums in our own way, however we see that, and that actually we can connect with our loved ones and the spirit worlds, as easily. And that is a gift, a gift that we've been given. And it's just nurturing that gift, isn't it? And bringing it out for people to start to believe and deepen their connection.
Absolutely. So I think for many people, they've been frightened away from even exploring anything to do with that because of rules and regulations that have been put in place by families, parents, churches, schools, etc. So, it is amazing that you found something that opened everything up straight away and showed you the possibilities. Because once you start, it's a journey, isn't it? Once you find one thing, you want to know more about the next thing, and then the next thing, and the next thing, and you want to do it all at once. And it's just so exciting, isn't it? It's just wonderful.
Yeah, it's something to be, and it's nice to be around. What I loved about it, Wendy, was it's nice to be around people that actually supported you.
Absolutely.
And nurtured you. So you didn't feel silly, or you didn't feel wrong to say anything. You just, you learned more to have that open communication about your feelings and connection. So that was really valuable to me at that time. And that then gave me the courage to go onto platform, because it really is a scary place to be.
It is, very much.
Yeah. And you stood there and I wanted to be really sure. I'd said many times to my guys, I need to be really sure that if I'm working with somebody and I have a relative of theirs, I need lots of confirmation that it is their relative.
Absolutely.
Because you're working with that level of trust, aren't you? And the person's placing the trust in you that you're going to bring that message of their beloved one through. So it took a long time to get to that. And it did. And I tell you, my mediumship was my development ground for my self-confidence, my self-esteem, my self-worth. It was that it was where I grounded all of that, because I needed to be able to do that work, and to be able to trust that connection that I have, and individually how that might work for me. Not like everybody, like I was taught that it, many, many years on many, many different training courses that, it's like, this is the way it is. Well, actually, it's your way. It's your unique connection that you have. And that's where you have to trust that, isn't it?
And it's wonderful you had the opportunity to investigate and explore and find out what works best for you. Because even though we all might be mediums, we all work quite differently in our own individualistic way. And let's be honest, we don't want a load of clones out there. We want to see individuals' personalities, don't we? We want to see how people can work differently, and fantastic.
Yeah,
But
and
as
that
you say, it can be a lonely place up on that platform.
Yeah, and it's you have to have a deep sense of trust in yourself. And I loved teaching beginners when I first started, because in that beautiful, naive way, beginners don't realize the power that they have.
Absolutely.
They really don't.
Yeah.
And you can see it, can't you, as a teacher, because you want to foster that and you want to nurture that, because you can see that, you know, you can see they have it. And so I did that for many years, but I did most of it quite voluntary, and I used to work full time, but I always used to work in projects that I really loved. And so I used to hold development classes in my home every Friday night, and people used to come and we used to eat, and we just make it a lovely occasion, which was really lovely. And then I lost my mum about 13 years ago, and my marriage ended as well. But it was, you know, like you just know that things are coming to an end, and although they're scary and they're frightening and they're unpredictable and what have you, you have to follow those feelings. You have to know that things are coming to an end and things are moving forward. And I remember going into the hospital when my mum was in, she had vascular dementia. And I remember sitting by the side of her bed and just being with her and talking about my dad being in the spirit and was waiting, you know, there for her, and he would be there and things like that. And it almost gave her permission to leave this earth, because she was hanging on for her children. And I was like, we are all okay. And I was giving her that reassurance. You know, I had a photo of my dad. And the next day, she actually made that passing. So it felt as though it was the right thing to do, to understand that she might be scared and all those things. But just by gently being there and, you know, reassuring her and just talking, I felt that made a big impact on that. But it standed me in good stead for those things to be coming. So the loss of my mom, the loss of my marriage, the loss of my home, everything just collapsed within the space of 3 months. And I knew at that time, for it to be so quick, it meant I was ready. I didn't think so, but the universe was saying, no, you're ready now. We're just clearing everything. We're clearing to give you that blank sheet. And although it's sad and it's hard and all those things, you know that we've been with you on all of this journey and will be. And so that was in its own way frightening, but exciting as well, to start a new life and start new ways. But I knew at that time that was the end of the way my mediumship was as well. And that I had to leave that way of working behind and to move more into deeper things.
And I think the thing is as well, you know, sometimes we're given messages, or we're getting messages from the spirit world that it's time to move on, and we don't listen. So we have to be given these huge messages that kind of leave us in no doubt that it's time to change, really. So what did change bring for you, Debbie?
So change brought for me a deeper connection to myself. That's what change brought. So I was very much seeking solutions and seeking answers about things, and should I do this and should I do that, and really kind of like, you know, how you go round and round and round in a circle. It's like, right, enough is enough. We're moving into this time of deeper trust in myself and a deeper connection to myself, to love myself on a deeper level, to bring out more of the depth of me. My daughter had a Doberman and Inca, and we lost her very quickly. And I was talking to her one night because she was distraught, and all of a sudden I felt this beautiful, loving presence, just like, if you can imagine, angel wings wrapping all around me. And I knew without a doubt that was the energy of Inca. And I just knew that whatever I said to my daughter, because I would say it in a different way to my daughters, but that it would be channeled directly from Inca, and
Yes.
that it would be okay. And so we talked, and then afterwards she said, oh, I feel so much better now. And then what I did was I thought, now just stop for a minute. This is important. Don't know why, but it's important. And then the following week, I kept seeing signs about animals.
Yeah.
And it's simple signs like pets at home, dog grooming, or a cat sanctuary, or things like that. And I kept seeing it, thinking, oh, it's building, whatever it is. And then I started to write poetry. Now, I'd never written poetry before, and I thought to myself, oh, I'm just going to do it. It doesn't have to be grammatically correct. It doesn't have to be so many lines and all things like that, as I was taught in school. This is my way of expression. And then I thought to myself, I know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to write a little pamphlet for the vets and ask the vets to hand it out. So I thought, well, I'll need some examples. So I put it out on Facebook. So this was in 2015-16, and 21 people straight away say, yes, we'd like to be involved.
Yeah.
So I interviewed people, and then we wrote a poem about their relationship with their animal.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how long ago they'd lost their animal, and there were all different kinds of animals. And then I found a beautiful editor, just quite by synchronicity, in France, and she just made me cry. We just had such a connection around the animal side, and so the book was produced in 2017.
Right.
And it was just for me. It wasn't, oh dear, I was scared about doing it. It was like almost like this deep certainty, regardless of if anybody bought it, regardless, this needs to be published. Now, I self-published it, but unfortunately, the vets, because of the spiritual aspect of it, were not really on board. Right. However, having said that, I'd been up to Scotland to a retreat, and one of the ladies on the retreat was a Western vet. She'd done Western medicine and Eastern medicine. And as she was talking, I thought, she's the lady for my forward.
Yes.
And I asked her, and she said, oh, I don't know. And I went, Anne, trust me, you'd be perfect.
Yeah.
But that's just following the signs that led to the book. And those signs have always been there. Recently.
Sorry, Debbie, what's the name of the book?
Best Friends Forever.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Debbie McLeod. And recently I've been seeing lots of signs around runestones.
Right.
And I've just seen them on the beach, just in the symbol of a runestone. And would you believe this, Wendy? 2 weeks ago, I was on Weston-super-Mare Beach, and a crow landed on my head.
Right. Wow.
I was like, what? It just flew behind me and landed on my head.
Wow.
Honestly, and it's like, okay, that's a sign. but do you know what I mean? It's like that just confirms to me about the energy of the planet changing, the energy of me changing. And as I've said, I've relocated now to the West Midlands to be closer to family. But my work is going to deepen within the celebrant work and the ceremony work and head witchery work that I'm going to be doing, which is all based around earth and the elements of the earth.
Yes.
And to bring that more into our lives, because, as we know, nature, I adore animals and people and the magic really of life. And it's being able to tap into that when we're just at our utmost downest moment and think that we are on our own. Whether that's physically or we just, emotionally, because we can all be in relationships, can't we, in friendships, but we're still emotionally empty.
Yes, that can be.
Yeah. So it's understanding our magic within us, really.
Yes. And I think that's often the hardest thing to find, isn't it? Because everybody's got such busy lives and so much going on around them. And, sometimes we just need to stop and breathe and just link in with the energies around us, link in with the earth energies, and understand that there is so much more to this world, to this universe, than any of us are aware of, really.
Yeah. And there is that, there is that magic when we start to connect deeper with ourselves, because I've been there. I've been that busy mom and that busy person at work and all those type of things, but over the years I've integrated that. And we can all get to that stage where we switch between the worlds.
Yes.
So we can live that life of children and business and all those kind of things. And we can also live that life where we're in the other world and we're bringing through our own intuition and our own wisdom and guidance. And it is so needed at this time.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so, especially with all that's going on in the world at this time. It really is. Yeah.
And to have that strong sense of core of ourselves. When we can feel a bit like this, or family members or friends are feeling a bit like that, we can be compassionate and empathic, but we still have to stand in our own solid energy, don't we, at the same time?
Indeed. Yeah.
So that it's not draining.
Tell me a little bit more about your celebrant work.
Yeah, well, the celebrant work is around the hen fasting. It's around hand fasting and land blessings and naming ceremonies and baby namings and vow renewals. And I've had the beautiful pleasure of being able to do them in woodlands.
Yes.
But also in people's back gardens, and anywhere where they feel. I was at Bridport the other week, and somebody was actually right up high on the cliffs, and they were having a celebrant's wedding right up there.
Yeah.
So you can have it. You still have to have the at the moment the registry office.
Yes.
2 by 2. 2 witnesses, and then you can have the celebrant. You can have the hand fasting either before that, or you can have it afterwards. It's entirely up to you, but it's all around that connection. And I link with the elements, so the fire, earth, air, and water elements. We bring those into the ceremony, and we do jump in the broom, which is moving from the old life into the new life as well. And you can have it anywhere, and you can have readers if you want to. You can have music, you can have animals, children, whatever you want, whoever you want to be included into the ceremony. You can make it your day, in whichever way that you want to, big or quiet, or simple. So it's entirely up to you. And that will, the celebrants work will develop deeper into the magic and the magic of the land. So this will be coming online this year, the magic of the land and reclaiming our sovereignty. So I'll be doing ceremonies about reclaiming our sovereignty and reclaiming that individuality and self-expression. My plan really is then to go across into different places and do them for other groups and other people as well, as part of their own circles or retreats. So that's the idea. And
does that bring the hedge witchery into it?
It does. Yeah. So really, that for me, the hedge witch is about connecting with the elements, and it's about connecting with herbs, incantations, your devotion, your belonging to self, and also as well to the animal kingdom, and to the magic, to people say some people can be put off by the word spells, but to me spells are affirmations. So you can use it in whichever way it feels right with you, because remember, it's all about what feels right for you. So it's exciting.
Going back to the first part of your journey, where your spiritual journey opened by you attending that course that turned out not to be what you thought it was going to be, but actually changed your life in so many ways. That kind of gives you that openness then, doesn't it, to hopefully allow other things to come into your life as well.
Yeah, definitely. Certainly with regards to the book, I'm thinking of writing a children's book with adventures into different lands and animals and that kind of things as well. And I just wanted to be able to be open to that.
Yes.
But, and it's just allowing it. It might very well be, because that was a couple of years ago when I had that thought and that feeling about writing a children's book. But actually, it might take a little longer to manifest that, but it's there. It's there because I've already set out that intention. And it will, I just have to trust that I'll meet the right people, the right signs, like I was saying the other day about the rune stones.
Yes.
And seeing those. And maybe that's where now I need to make my own set of rune stones and bring those into my healing work.
Yeah.
So we shall see how that develops.
Yeah. And I think it's very much about listening and watching for those signs that come through, and because they're not always what we expect them to be, are they?
No.
They can manifest in very many different ways for each individual. So it's about what is meaningful to us as individuals. And I mean, on your journey, was there any kind of book that you felt was really an important aspect, an important part of your journey?
Do you know, I can see the book. I know it is about, oh my goodness me, it was the most famous book, and it's blue and it's battered and I've carried it for years, and it's about the guide Sanchez. So I'm thinking, oh my goodness me. Oh, there have been so many books, but that one was the very first one. And actually it was given to me when I went to the very first, I found that little centre. Yes. And I cannot for the life of me. And there was, oh no. What was that book? And apologies, because I've just moved, so I don't have it to hand.
Yes, yeah. Don't worry about it.
But it is a very famous book. Yeah. I can see it.
What was it? Philosophical writings? Or?
It was philosophical, where he went on a journey and he met a guide called Sanchez. Yeah. And he went in, had different situations, and the guide was there to help and support him on his way to believe in different things, to look for signs, to look for symbols.
So a little bit of the Celestine prophecy.
That's it.
Yeah, yes. That's the one. Yeah.
Yes, that was my very first book.
Yeah.
And when I went to the centre, the lady gave it to me and said, "Debbie, here is a present for you."
Yes, it's a wonderful book.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I loved it. I just, loved all those kind of stories, and many of the Louise Hay work as well.
Yes.
I really liked, but at the moment it's around the magic and the wheel of the year.
Yes.
So I'm reading books on that, the year of the magic, the book, the wheel of the year, to bring in the equinox, all the different ceremonies on the wheel. So the Samhain, and we're coming up to the spring equinox and all those kind of things. So I'm looking at those kind of books now to deepen that, to deepen my own practice.
Yes.
And also as well, I loved The Artist's Way by Julian Cameron. Absolutely loved it. And that kind of gave me the understanding about what it meant to be an artist, really, and an artist. And so just recently, before I moved, I used to teach adults with learning difficulties 2 hours of expressive art.
Yes.
As therapy. But for me, it's about that individual, again, like I've said, that individual way in which we interpret things. So I love to use art in all its forms, whether that's poetry, whether that's painting, whether that's writing, however it is, to bring out our own unique style. Because I remember on that very first retreat I went to, we had to do something with painting. One of the little classes was around painting, and I gave myself such a hard time because I thought mine was horrible and the colours were dark, and I got so upset about it. But again, it kind of like it over time made me realise, but this is your expression, and you need to love it for whatever it is, because it's like nobody else's, Debbie. Absolutely. And all I wanted, Wendy, was to be like everybody else.
Yeah.
Because I never felt all my life I'd fitted in or I'd belonged.
And I think many of us feel like that. And it's not until you start this discovery and start allowing yourself to really express yourself that actually you realise, I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to be like who I am and who I was meant to be in this world, and serve my life with the purpose I was meant to lead it for. And it sounds like you have had many opportunities to explore that.
I've been really extremely lucky, and I think also as well because I've been willing to go there, willing to look silly, and willing to be nurtured and fostered, and to find the right, signs and synchronicities and the groups and people that, I thought, oh, I'd like to be friends with them. It's never happened. And friendships have moved away. And, it's just understanding that actually sometimes in life we need to be on our own, and that to have a lot of friends is not necessarily a good thing.
That's right, very much so. It's been wonderful to talk to you today, Debbie. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us where we can find you.
Okay, so at the moment I have two websites. One is www.cosmiccrone, all one word, .co.uk. And the other one is www.elementalsacredceremonies.com.
Wonderful. That's really great. And of course, you're on Facebook as well.
I am on Facebook, yes.
So people can link up with you on there. So again, I'd like to say a very big thank you for joining us today. It's been fascinating talking to you. And I'd like to say a very big thank you to our listeners. This is Wendy Dixon from Intuitive Life with Wendy Dixon, and I'll talk to you and listen to you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.